Hey everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining us today. We have a brand new story to share, so let's get started. I was deeply in love with my wife, Judy, for 20 years. It all began the night I met her at a college graduation party. Although we attended the same college for 4 years, we had never met before that day. What impressed me most that night was her knowledge of expensive scotch. She brought a bottle to the party, and we all enjoyed it while singing along to Beatles songs, especially When I'm 64. In a semi-drunken state, she told me that her father owned a high-end liquor store where she worked. We spent the next hour talking about whiskey and bourbon, and she invited me to a whiskey tasting at the store that weekend. We've been together ever since. She still works there as the office manager, while I sell carpets. My job isn't very exciting, but combined with her paycheck, it covers our expenses. Judy and I love the Beatles song When I'm 64. The DJ even played it as our first dance at our wedding. We have 3 children, Vera, Chuck, and Dave, named after our favorite song. When Judy was pregnant with a girl again, we debated naming her Lucy or Rita, inspired by Beatles songs. Unfortunately, she suffered a miscarriage, and it changed her forever. Nothing I did or said could comfort her. She blamed me because I had insisted on having a 4th child. Looking back, I realized that was the start of the end of our marriage. Judy no longer wanted to be intimate or even hug me. I hoped she just needed a few months to heal, and that patience would help. For my 40th birthday last year, my father-in-law gifted me a $600, 25-year-old bottle of Glenlivet Scotch. I hadn't opened it yet, saving it for a special occasion. My wife, on the other hand, gave me a gym membership and told me to lose my beer belly and take better care of myself. She even suggested I get hair plugs for my receding hairline. She wasn't subtle. Judy still worked out twice a week and maintained the same weight as when we met. I admit I let myself go. Balancing work and exercise was difficult, and I didn't have the energy for both. 1 month later, after a tough day at work where I lost a big sale I'd been working on for 2 weeks, I came home, eager to console myself with that special scotch. But when I opened the liquor cabinet, I noticed the bottle had been opened and 4 shots were missing. I was furious. I have 3 teenagers, and I wanted to know who had broken the rules and drank the scotch. Not just any alcohol, but from such an expensive bottle. I knew each of them would blame the others, and I'd never find out the truth. So, I installed a motion sensor camera hidden in a bookshelf opposite the liquor cabinet. I was determined to find the culprit and set strict consequences. 3 days later, I noticed more scotch was missing. I checked the camera footage, expecting to catch one of my kids. What I found left me shocked and furious. There on the screen was my half-naked wife with a completely naked man, pouring scotch for both of them. He wasn't younger or more attractive, so I couldn't understand why she was with him, until I saw her licking the scotch off him and understood. I'd never cheated on Judy and never imagined she would do this to me after 20 years of marriage. I realized I needed to leave the house to cool off or risk doing something that would land me in jail. I grabbed my bike and rode for a few hours, letting the stress melt away. Cycling helped me more than drinking, and it spared me from hangovers. Ironically, my wife's job at a liquor store meant I could get all the booze I wanted at a discount. I wish she worked at a bike shop instead. I knew I would divorce her, but I wanted revenge on the man who thought he could take my wife and my scotch. He had ruined my life, and he would pay. You might call me vindictive, and you'd be right. But my wife was safe because she was the mother of my children, and I couldn't hurt her. I came up with a plan. I bought another motion sensor camera, this one Wi-Fi enabled, which would send me live video to my phone. Then I bought $200 worth of Rohypnol from a shady co-worker and paid him another $200 to stay quiet. That night, I discovered even more scotch was gone. This wasn't a one-time affair. It was ongoing. I dissolved Rohypnol tablets in warm scotch and poured it back into the bottle, preparing for his next visit. I also bought an identical bottle and hid it nearby. 2 days later, my phone buzzed. It was scotch party time again. I was disgusted watching him lick scotch off my wife. The drug would take 30 minutes to kick in, just enough time for me to drive home. I told my boss I felt sick and headed out. This excuse would also satisfy any questions from the police. Part of my plan, I parked in my driveway and quietly entered through the back door. I found my wife and her lover asleep on the living room floor, with his clothes scattered around. I placed some Rohypnol pills in his pants pocket and swapped the drug scotch bottle with the pristine one. I then removed the hidden cameras and put them in my car. Afterward, I went upstairs, changed the sheets on our bed, and brought down clothes for my wife. I dressed her, put the hidden cameras, dirty sheets, and tampered scotch bottle along with the glasses in my car, and drove 5 minutes away to my sister's house. MY's sister and I exchanged cars. She took my unconscious wife to our beach house in Mexico, 2 hours away, while I returned home. I broke a small window pane to make it seem like someone had broken in to unlock and open the front door. My wife's lover was still lying on the floor. I called 911 and reported a break-in by a crazy, naked man who had attacked me. Then, I punched him hard in the nose and kicked him twice between the legs for good measure. I even crushed the fingers on his right hand with my foot. The police arrived shortly after, and I met them outside. I explained that I found a naked man in my house who had attacked me, so I defended myself. I showed them my ID to prove I lived there and said I had never seen the man before. I told them my wife was visiting my sister in Mexico, about 100 miles away. The police searched the house and confirmed my wife wasn't there. The unconscious man was handcuffed, arrested, and taken to a hospital jail ward. At the police station, I filed a report. Later, I was informed that when he woke up, handcuffed to the hospital bed, he was confused and didn't know what was happening. He claimed my wife had invited him over and that he somehow lost consciousness. He admitted they had been having an affair for months, but insisted it had been discreet. No one could confirm his story, and he accused me of drugging him, saying he drank some of my scotch. The police searched my house, checked the clean sheets, and took the untainted scotch bottle for testing. My sister knew everything and warned my wife that if she tried to defend her lover, she would reveal the affair. I insisted my wife stay in Mexico, avoiding any subpoenas to testify until after the trial. I wanted her lover jailed and promised her a fairer divorce settlement if she complied. I watched as the children ran toward filing for divorce, laughing as we rented our house. So Sarah felt a lump in her throat. I gave her a 60-40 split of our assets as children, though young, to keep her from testifying for her everything had changed. Fighting for more would have cost me more in legal fees, and I would say the pain of betrayal stayed with better than the challenge. But knowing he had been deceived by both his wife or anyone else the truth, he promised himself he would never let anyone hurt him like that again. She remained faithful. His heart, that was 25 years ago, was now guarded anyone younger or more beautiful who fell madly in love with me. After weeks of isolation, join a gym to get in shape, but it didn't work. She needed help, not in the 3 months not just to deal with a divorce. I missed my wife, understand where she had lost her way. Reconcile with her. She knew the problem. I could never trust her again. It was a dissatisfaction out of herself that led to destructive choices, and eventually the road to healing would be long. But she was now to take it at his father-in-law's liquor store. Peter, meanwhile, he once had as a continued down his at the first birthday party for my oldest grandson. He fled. Her husband had a few drinks, he didn't gain what he hoped from the scam. Me of ruining his life by drugging him. He moved on to find new victims. I just laughed and said, always searching for someone only vulnerable. Saying that to make me feel good. But justice would catch up to their 20th wedding anniversary. John and Sarah went their separate ways. My children told me my ex-wife was happy, truly free from each other, even though I had been alone with all these years. Over time, I don't regret the pain turned into bitter acceptance. I could never live with a cheater. Sarah slowly rebuilt the foundation of love, while John closed himself off. Love is impossible. Focusing on his every career now and then the kids. I traveled to Nevada, once shared adult entertainment is legal, but the impact of their spend time with an escort named Cindy. Sarah looked to the future cautiously. We just go out knowing for dinner her actions because I missed female companionship. She was no longer Cindy the woman knows my story, perfect and even life. Suggested an idea now, that I loved. She had to face what keeps me going are my 3 children to live with it, who live just minutes away. Though he wouldn't admit it, babysit my grandchildren a few days a week. which brings me immense joy. Love could conquer Scientists may say there's no such thing as a perpetual motion machine for time alone, but they've never met my 2-year-old grandson John or his 3-year-old cousin of choices. After playing with them for hours, breaking someone's trust. I'm so exhausted that I fall asleep on the couch. The consequences are tired to go upstairs to my bedroom. If you enjoyed this story, it's the best kind of tired. Share your thoughts and opinions. My wife's infidelity. We'd love to hear how you felt about this journey of mistakes, regret, but my grandchildren make up for it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more stories. Always a cheater. Here, and it holds we true. Don't support any when her form new of husband turned 63. These stories serve as lessons caught in how cheating with a 30-year-old woman. He met Cindy when she visited the liquor store, and she seduced him as a favor to me. My ex received an anonymous text directing her to a motel, where she found him with another woman. It cost me some money, but the revenge was worth it. A week later, we were both at our daughter's house. My ex-wife, crying, accused me of not understanding how much it hurt to be betrayed. That's when I realized how clueless she was. Judy decided she didn't need her new husband anymore and divorced him when he turned 64.